In this video, we will discuss about solar power system and power budgeting. Okay, so this is the simple image of solar panel system. It is having particular specification. Rated power is 1 watt, rated voltage 4.95 volt, open circuit voltage 5.8 volt, short circuit current 0.23 ampere. After that, we have to discuss about what is the criteria for material used in solar cell. That must have band gap of 1 electron volt to 1.8 electron volt. It must have high optical absorption. It must have high electrical conductivity. The raw material must be available in abundance and the cost of the material must be low. And where it is used, it may be used to charge batteries, it is used in light meters, it is used to power calculators and wristwatch. It can be used in spacecraft to provide electrical energy. After that, we have to discuss about the basics related to the solar cell. So if we observe here, it consists of conductive metal base which is act as the anode, conductive metal contact act as the cathode, protective glass, that glass window on the top surface of n-type material, then p-type and n-type semiconductor which used to form the p-n junction, and the material used in solar cell gallium arsenide, indium arsenide and cadmium arsenide. Okay, if you observe here, silicon atom have 4 electrons in the outermost shell that form stable crystal structure which is used to form the p-type and n-type semiconductor, because this solar cell is nothing but the simple p-n junction diode. Okay, so this silicon has 4 electrons in the outermost shell. Now we have to convert this silicon or pure semiconductor into the n-type and p-type semiconductor. So we require the dopant element. To create the p-type semiconductor, we require this impurity atom which is having the 3 electrons in the outermost shell, and to create the n-type semiconductor we require the dopant element which is having the 5 electrons in the outermost shell. Boron having 3 electrons in the outermost shell and phosphorus having the 5 electrons in the outermost shell. Now this is the generation of p-type semiconductor. If is central silicon atom which is replaced by the boron, it is having 3 electrons in the outermost shell. So this, out of this 4 silicon atom, it is recombined with the 3 electrons of this boron atom and 1 is remaining. So this create the whole. For the n-type semiconductor, this central silicon atom is replaced with the phosphorus which is having the 5 electrons in the outermost shell. So out of this 5, 4 recombine with the neighbor silicon atom and 1 is remaining. So it create the electrons. So this is called as n-type semiconductor. Okay, when We recombine the p-type semiconductor with the n-type semiconductor. When p-type and n-type silicon are layered together, some of the electrons and holes come together and forming an electric field. The electric field repel the free holes and electrons and keep them from moving between the layers. When free electrons and holes zapped loose by sunlight are forced back into their proper layer. So what is the absorption of light? So this concept is important for the conversion of light energy into the electrical energy. When the energy of photon is equal to or greater than that band gap of the material, the photon is absorbed by the material and excite an electron into the conduction band. Both minority and majority carriers are generated when a photon is absorbed. The generation of charge carriers by photon is the basis of photovoltaic production of energy. Photon incident on the surface of a semiconductor will be either reflected from the top surface, will be absorbed in the matter, or falling either of the above two processes, that will be transmitted through the material. For photovoltaic devices, reflection and transmission are typical. Consider loss mechanism, as a photon which has not absorbed do not generate power. If the photon is absorbed, it has a possibility of exciting an electrons from the valence band to conduction band. The key factor in determining if a photon is absorbed or transmitted is the energy of the photon. Therefore, only if the photon has enough energy will be electron be excited into the conduction band from the valence band. Photon falling onto the semiconductor material can be divided into three groups based on their energy compared to the semiconductor band gap. If light with the energy less than the band gap is not absorbed and passes straight through the semiconductor, the high energy protons give it energy to the electrons, moving it into the conduction band and leaving a hole in the valence band. A photon with energy equal to the band gap is efficiently absorbed as there is no heat wasted. Okay, so these are the three possibilities. The effect of these three classes of photon on the semiconductor is shown in the animation. First case, second case, and the third case. Okay. Now, when the current is generated and when the light energy is converted into the electrical energy, the generation of a current in a solar cell, known as light generated current, involves two key process. The first process is the absorption of incident photons to create electron hole pair will generate in solar cell provided that incident photon has an energy greater than that of the band gap. However, electrons and holes are metastable and will only exist on average for a length of time equal to the minority carrier lifetime before they recombine. If the carrier recombines, then the light generated electron hole pair is lost and no current will flow. Second process, the collection of these carriers by the p-n junction prevent this recombination by using p-n junction as specially separated the electrons and the holes. The carriers are separated by the action of the electric field. Exciting and p-n junction. If the light generated minority carriers reaches the p-n junction, it is swept across the junction by the electric field at the junction, where it is now a majority carrier. If emitter and base of the solar cell are connected together, that is short circuited, the light generated carriers flow through the external circuit. The ideal flow at a short circuit is shown in the animation. Then conversion of light energy into the electrical energy. If you connect both layers with the circuit, attractive force will drive the excess electron and holes together, creating electric current. After that, we discuss about the simple solar system. The typical solar energy system include solar panel and inverter equipment to mount the panel on your roof, and performance monitoring system that track electricity production. The solar panel collect energy from sun and turn into the electricity, which is passed through the inverter and converted into a form that you can use to power your home. The vast majority of residential solar energy systems are connected to the electricity grid. When your panels are producing more electricity than the home needs, the excess is fed back to the power grid. Conversely, when your home need more electricity than your solar panel are producing, you can draw power from the power grid. So this is the simple solar system. After that, we have to discuss some another application related to the solar system. Solar as a regulated power supply source, which is used in Arduino and Wi-Fi model. Okay, so let us discuss the solar with the battery powered circuit. So it requires a simple solar panel, diode, battery charger, battery, voltage booster. Okay, solar panel. Okay, so to protect the high voltage from the solar panel, so we require the diode, which is connected to the battery charger, which is used to charge the battery. As this battery produce the small voltage, but in some application we have to require the more supply voltage, so we use the voltage booster circuit. It is given in the diagram. So this is a simple solar panel with the powered by circuit. Then running Arduino on solar panel. So this is a simple diagram. This is similar to the previous diagram, just we connect this voltage booster circuit to the Arduino board. Simply we connected the one terminal or positive terminal of voltage booster to the digital V input of Arduino and negative terminal of voltage booster to the ground terminal. Here we completed the diagram. Just using this solar panel we can operate this Arduino board. Then we can also run the Wi-Fi model using the solar panel. Same here. So this diagram is similar to the previous diagram, only what you have to do, we directly connected this battery to the ESP8266, that is Wi-Fi model. Okay, after that we have to find out what is the power budget of running Wi-Fi model on power solar. Okay, so let us take example. We have to consider the sleep mode also. So average current draw which is equal to 50 milliampere, and in sleep mode which is 5 milliampere, means which is less than the 50 milliampere. Then average power requirement which is equal to V into I, that is 3.3 volt into 50 milliampere. So this is equal to 165 milliwatt. Then required battery capacity is equal to 50 milliampere into 24, means this is 1200 milliampere hour, and in sleep mode which is 120 milliampere hour, because average current draw is 5 ampere. Solar panel capacity required 1200 milliampere hour per 6 hours, which is equal to 200 milliampere current capacity plus minus 20%. This is tolerance we have to consider, and in sleep mode which is 20 milliampere. Okay, so this is regarding the power budget of the running Wi-Fi module which is running on solar power. Thank you.